You're like,
Welcome to Slow News Day Live. My name is Steve Poikinen. I am here in half burnout, Boulder Creek, California. I am joined by my better than your co-host, Glory Jones. Glory, what's happening? How you doing?
Hey, all, much love.
Your brain recover from this morning yet?
You know, that wasn't so much brain breaking as it was just very good for my heart.
The catharsis that is the impending doom of a conversation with Whitney Webb.
Yeah, but at the same time, I think it's very clear that a lot of people have been starved of such a conversation and just a full smack of sense coming from figures like Whitney Webb. So it was very welcoming in that sense.
Well, if we're going to continue Common Sense Thursday here on the show, I for the first time, which is I don't know, kind of unfathomable to me at this point, considering the connectivity that I have with this gentleman. I'm incredibly pleased to bring onto the show MMA legend, philosopher, entrepreneur, closeted genius, Jon Fitch. How you doing, my friend?
come on, I got closeted genius. That's a first. It's a first.
We're gonna run with that for the rest of the show. Don't let me down.
Let's do it.
I don't.
Ready to go.
Man, I gotta say, I've enjoyed listening to Mixed Martial Mindset. It's no secret on the show here that Burmis and I, for good or ill, are friends and frequently hang out, or at least whenever we're in the nation's capital for a real life psyop.
It's wild to watch in real time.
Dude, it was insane to be there on the ground for it. But like, I mean, I haven't really talked to too many people that were, watching it from afar. What was your take when all of that was going down?
I mean, from the stuff on the outside was everybody's pretty chill. They weren't kicking over trash cans and whatever. But the stuff on the inside, it was gross. I mean, any political violence is wrong, like breaking shit, smashing shit, setting on fire. It's always wrong. It's never going to be okay. If we're supposed to live in a civil society where we follow laws and shit, it's never okay. Because if you make it okay some of the time, like you better be ready for it all the time, because no group is going to sit back and be like, oh, well, they had a better reason for it than us. And I was trying to explain this to some of my friends who are way more on that left side. And I was like, guys, it doesn't matter how you feel about it. If 100 million people or 80 million people, whatever, feel the exact opposite about it, and you're justifying your violence, they're going to justify their violence. And you're going to end up having your city burn up. You're going to have your kids shot up. You're going to have bad shit happen. Like, stop it. It's all wrong. It's all wrong. Leave the violence to professionals who get paid to do it. I mean, we get exploited to do it, but leave it to us.
True.
Man, and look at, I mean, it's going to be used and is being used as the justification to roll out all sorts of new civil liberty stamping measures. They're already talking about Patriot Act 2.0. They're with the legislation for which, by the way, has been laying around waiting for a fucking reason. And if you're watching live right now,
towards the same centralized control.
Yeah.
They've got us all divided up, arguing about left versus right. It's all about blue versus red and white versus black. And it's not. It's the elite versus everybody else. And then the elite, you have several factions in the elite who are fighting with each other. And then we're all distracted arguing about bullshit that doesn't really matter or affect our lives. Well, they take over and they install more and more control. We lose more and more freedom. It's like they have everything they need to know about every single one of us. anything you've done in your lifetime is recorded somewhere. You have zero privacy. The idea of privacy is gone.
So I'm not going to make any assumptions or anything. I don't know how old you are. I remember,
Almost
you know,
100.
huh?
That's what, almost 100. That's what I tell them.
Almost 100. No, I mean really though. I mean, how old are you?
I'm 42, almost 43.
Holy
Oh,
shit, man!
shit.
So that's me. That I'll be 43 in April. Shut the fuck up, Glory Jones. You're not even old enough to get into a fucking bar yet. All right. Yeah, that fuck fake ID shit and fuck barely out of diapers. Fucking
Hey, give me some.
me and Fitch remember back before the internet when you weren't fucking held to task for every little word, comment, deed, picture, fucking whatever.
I still grew up with iFunny and Rage Comics. We had fun, okay? There's a difference between, there's levels to the Zoomers.
That's nuts though, man. Like growing up in Indiana specifically in the 80s and 90s and shit like that. Like, holy fuck, were you at Purdue when you must have been at Purdue when I was at Purdue.
97.
Yeah, well, that's when I officially like resigned from going to class, but I was on campus for a lot of that.
It's changed a lot.
Oh, shit.
Fucking gnarly. I graduated high school in 96 and that was like really sort of the dawn of the internet, but we didn't have fucking social media as it was. And fuck, dude, I'm really glad. Because I may or may not have fucking gotten, could have been in a lot more trouble. We'll never know.
Maybe,
and I love that.
Maybe at the same time, though, we could be influencers that have hundreds of millions of dollars in yachts because, we are industrious and we knew how to talk to people. And, like if those opportunities would have been around at the time, who knows?
That's fair. That's fair.
You never know.
I was much more into direct marketing allegedly at that time.
Oh, you're so good at marketing, Steve.
I suck at it now, man, but I mean, right now though, seriously, I could go fucking sell ice in Siberia if I set my mind to it. I have a much different concept of
for sales. Because I used to believe like, if I just have good enough of a product, people will show up.
Yeah,
absolutely absolutely wrong.
Now you have to. The algorithm
to
determines everything.
Yeah.
The algorithm and one thing that always works is consistency, and that's with everything. If you're consistent, those algorithms are going to find you more than if you're inconsistent. And that's like one of the things that holds me back the most. Is like I'm stubborn. I just like doing things the way I want to do them. So my inconsistency on when I post things or whatever holds me back a little bit. But like, whether it's working out, lifting, training for whatever, any job you want to do, your side project, it's consistency. If you show up every day, if you do a little bit every day, it doesn't matter how much, as long as it's something every day, then you're going to get it.
Yeah. We're fairly consistent at pissing people off. So
that's true.
It's good.
That's true. There's such a
this day and age though, isn't it?
I mean, everybody's been programmed to have a knee-jerk reaction to a set of words or even images, and then automatically everything about the propaganda around it becomes reality. And it's so far removed from where we need to be in order to, like, I don't know, sustain as a fucking species.
Mm-hmm. No, I think that we are pushing ever more and more towards emotionalism. Everything is about emotions and how you feel about it. Your reality is based upon how you feel. And I think this isn't a new thing. I think if you go back in the ancients and the Stoics talked about this stuff a lot, and I think that's why they devised a lot of the stuff that they did, is because they realized that people were very emotional and very easily persuaded, because it's easy to persuade somebody when they're emotional. If they're logical and rational, they make their decisions based on logical and rational reasons. But like, there's been a push in recent years away from that rational way of living. We're in fantasy land now. I don't know if it's a rejection of, because there was more of a strict traditional sense in the 50s, maybe. Not saying it was good, but it was less emotional time, right? So I don't know if it's a cultural pushback or if it's the elite have figured it out and they're like, hey, we need to take away these people's individuality and we need to make them scared and emotional so that it's easier to control them.
I mean,
that's what this whole thing at the Capitol is like, weaponizing to further advance their agenda of clamping down on just every living, breathing thing. Is they're weaponizing the fear of, everyone there was a Nazi, or even with going back to the COVID. Like,
now we've got this.
Okay.
Now we've got this.
So
what image or what emotion is that supposed to invoke in the American populace other than outright fear and terror?
First off, for one, after the last presidential inauguration, they need, after what happened last time, remember the last presidential inauguration and the riots and the violence and the limousines on fire and shit? Remember that? Remember that happened 4 years ago? Remember? Yeah, they need those people there because of what happened last inauguration. That's why they need those people there. Antifa and all those people that torched the city last time show up again. They're trying to spin it on, it's all Trump and his people, whatever. But like, they know the same, like, people are just dissatisfied overall. And there's probably people who are going to show up and want to do bad stuff. And now it's much less likely because they have the National Guard everywhere. And then two, people who are really upset about those pictures. Why aren't you upset about the pictures of the guys sleeping in the dirt in the Middle East?
Yeah, no, we're
They've been there for 20 years. They've been there for 20 years, and you're upset about guys sleeping. At least it's a polished, clean floor. They're not sleeping in some other guy's guts.
Yo, dude, I'm never gonna be okay with outright public displays of state violence or potential state violence. Like that's not what I'm in it for. But no, I mean you're absolutely right. The culturally we're inconsistent as fuck. A friend of mine, Danny Sherson, who I don't know if you're not familiar with Danny Sherson. You should get to know this guy. You'd love him. He is one of the most salient anti-war veteran voices that we have going for us right now. He's a retired Army major. He taught history at West Point. And after doing multiple combat tours in Iraq and Afghanistan, and one of his like biggest gripes about where we are right now goes back to the Nixon administration making a calculated decision that making sure the American public was disengaged from its military and what we were up to, what the troops go through, and what we put them through, what imperialism as a cultural phenomenon is now.
A lot of shit up.
Making sure that it was an all-volunteer military had a fuck ton to do with the fact that nobody gives a goddamn that guy is sleeping in the dirt in Afghanistan or Iraq, or has been for 20 years. Like the war in Afghanistan is old enough to join the army and go to war in Afghanistan.
Yeah, no,
that's fucked up.
There are father-son patrol units.
Yeah.
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 You guys there's a picture of the guy. I remember seeing him. He was there with his son. He's been there long enough doing the same round. It's ridiculous.
And that's supposed to be a good thing.
I also want to point out that you made a great point out about Nixon. That time frame is really where the current situation we are right now, I think, kind of began. I mean, there's a lot of stuff from World War II and war, industrial, whatever, But you got Nixon with what you're just talking about, and then decoupling the dollar from gold. We started putting more crap into the Middle East. Reagan, all the Iran Contra, all that crap, issues with Russia. The 70s also were, businesses, corporations, factory jobs. They all started shipping out to overseas. That was, Republicans turned their back on the working class. The Democrats turned their back on them. They shipped all the jobs away. You had the family households started breaking up. Poor neighborhoods, mothers and fathers splitting up, more single motherhood. A lot of these problems started happening in those. Then you've got, a little bit of the Cold War ending, and then we had a little bit of peace, and then Bush is like, nope, we got to go to Kuwait, right? And they lie about babies on the floor to get us into Kuwait. And then you got Clinton and all the crimes and shit he did. The crime bill, putting a bunch of people in prison. Oh yeah, the war on drugs, also Nixon, Reagan. Like all of that stuff from, I think, the 70s really is what has accumulated to the shithole we're in right now. It's Bush and then not remembering that, and then going back all the way to like slavery and blaming that. Like it misses so much of what really has happened recently, which has put us where we're at.
Well, and you also have the FBI's COINTELPRO, and even going back a little further, the reintroduction of the Espionage and Sedition Acts, which not only have been used on whistleblowers throughout the 20th century, but now it's being weaponized again against Julian Assange for publishing. So like these mechanisms, you're so right, these mechanisms to suppress opposition have always existed, and we need to remember that history, or else they're just going to keep getting bigger and bigger and stronger to the point where we can't do anything about it.
And I really think that's what this is all about, is all this stuff that's going on right now. It's all distractions, so that we're focusing on these things instead of like what they're really doing, like right there in front of us, right next to us. The home scandals in 2008, the market crashing, like all this stuff is just stacking up. We haven't resolved any of it, and nobody came forward and said, "Hey guys, sorry, I fucked up." Like nobody, not a single guy said, "Sorry, I made a mistake." Not the weapons of mass destruction people. Nobody. They just keep charging through and be like, "Oh no, look at that! Look at the gender thing in the bathroom, and no, look at that thing, and what happened 1,000 years ago." Just it's frustrating.
There's a pretty straight line from Kennedy's assassination to George H.W. Bush walking from the director of the CIA's office that he occupied to the White House that he occupied as, shadow president for 8 years and then actual president for 4. And everything that we have legislatively right now with the original Patriot Act, which, by the way, Joe Biden fucking is really proud about writing the forerunner to that.
Can't wait.
The fact that they've got Patriot Act 2.0 just waiting in the wings, ready to go at any moment. And now half the country's fucking domestic terrorists. And every single organization that forms to have an event, all it's going to take after Patriot Act 2.0 is 2 fucking plants in MAGA hats showing up, and now you've got a domestic terror rally, and you're all subject to this. Is the criminalization of free assembly, John.
They plant one hat in your car, right? You forget to lock your car, they throw one hat. There's a MAGA hat in his back. They call SWAT, they raid your house, take all your guns.
Well, and
your neighbor will applaud. Oh, we got a dangerous guy off the streets. Oh man, that could have been a school shooting or something.
Absolutely. No, we had Whitney on earlier today. She's one of the few people that have reported on, and we've reported on it here at this show, the fact that we have PreCrime now in the Department of Justice. And it was the summer of 2019 when Bill Barr was giving a speech, and he said, God forbid something happens like multiple shootings at the same, across the country on the same day. We need to be able to have a mechanism in the Department of Justice to be able to stop these things before they start. PreCrime. So he called, and then 3 weeks later, lo and behold, there's multiple mass shootings in the same 24-hour period. where it turns out that one wasn't really like, it was like a brother
It was
who was
gang related, so it didn't count.
yeah, but it was still pointed to as Donald Trump came out the next day or that Monday and said law enforcement needs the capabilities to probe the deepest, darkest corners of the internet to stop these things before they start, echoing Bill Barr's call for pre-crime. Now we have that. Now this is a thing. And we've got domestic terrorists who engaged in an insurrection, which is just a fucking mind-blowingly inaccurate narrative that people are running with like it was just fucking gift wrap.
How many days was Chaz there? Wasn't that around a federal building? How many days in Portland were they trying to set the federal building? How was that not a siege? That was a siege against a federal building.
I think because they didn't actually go inside, and that's what has so many people upset. I don't know, dude.
They failed at getting in, so it doesn't count.
They're in my opinion,
these Trump people and insurrectionists is the fact that they breached the doors. They actually got through. So they were more competent. So that's why.
Well, and they were let in.
They were
It's just on video, like of the cop just waving.
I think it's so funny. They call it an insurrection.
Come on through, guys.
You don't get invited into an insurrection.
A 50-year-old running around, a 7-year-old guy with his feet on Pelosi's desk. I mean, come on, that's you're insurrectionists.
If it's an insurrection,
in the face and his teeth came flying out. That happened in one of those riots this summer. I remember that.
Yeah,
the guy who tried to run away, he got punted in the face. I remember that. 23 people died. That David Dorr dude, a retired cop, got shot in the head. That doesn't count. That's not insurrection.
They don't open the door for you when it's an insurrection. The people on the other side of the door, when it's an actual insurrection, when it's an actual coup, the people on the other side of the door don't open it up and wave you in. They don't. They don't.
Yeah.
That's not how that works. And the fact that like there was tear gas and people did get shot, and that we did have, a couple of different like borderline Occupy style events go on over the summer with the Chaz shit and the shit around the DC their little fucking whatever the hell that was. All of these things to me, John, scream limited hangout and intelligence operation designed to make sure that we see what's happening right now. People cheering on the censorship, people cheering on the removal and erasure of people entirely. Like the fucking crazy thing about Donald Trump getting digitally removed from fucking Home Alone 2 is that this is exactly what
insane.
People accuse like
these people. No, the idea that you need to remove Donald Trump from Home Alone 2, but you don't need to remove George W. Bush from society.
Yeah.
You're a jackass. You are a jackass. I'll call you a jackass to your face. You're stupid. If you think Donald Trump on any level was worse than George W. Bush, you're a hypocritical retard. Sorry.
I mean, it's like Henry Kissinger gets to walk around free. Henry Kissinger gets to walk around free right now.
He gets to go on
Congress, but we can't expel anyone from the CIA, anyone from the DHS.
We can't end the CIA at all. We can't just say, "Wait, guys, we don't really need you anymore. Cold War's done." Just
so Glory appointed me interim president a while ago, and one of my first acts was to appoint Nico House as the interim director of the CIA, so that he could abolish it and form the Department of Minding Your Own Business.
I like that.
Which I feel like we could use
small government. I'm all about
right.
I think we could find a budget.
Not a lot of heavy bureaucracy in the Department of Minding Your Own Business.
Yeah,
man. You don't even really need a sign on the door.
Maybe a PO box.
Fucking mind your own business. It could work, dude. I believe in a simple life. I do. It's nuts, man.
The most frustrating thing is that people see the problems around, and people want to fix the problems, and we all want to see everybody happy and healthy, right? But the idea that the government is going to help you in any way, read a history book. When has any government or any large association been good? Like, they always get to a certain size and becomes evil, you know?
Yeah, no, centralized structures only reward corruption
Levels of
and
transparency.
sociopathy.
You know, you got to have high levels of transparency and checks and balances within the organization. And in America, like, we haven't been honoring the checks and balances for a long time.
Or the transparency.
The transparency. Now, you know, we have an oligarchy. The corporations really run everything.
Yeah, we have privately owned elections, and literally just pointing that out, you'll get called a conspiracy theorist, Nazi collaborator, all this stuff. You should be deplatformed for saying that, for questioning the legitimacy of thy holy election system. Like, no, our elections are privately open.
You listen to 4 years. You listen to 4 years of Russian collusion. I say the other side, you got to keep it, you know, the left's all about equity. Okay, so the left had 4 years of Russian collusion. The right, equity. They deserve 4 years to complain about the rigged election. So, tit for tat. There you go.
I mean, look,
suck it up, buttercups.
Or how about we all just acknowledge that privately owned elections mean we don't have free and fair elections, and until we do, our government is illegitimate, and everyone who's working in it is working, I don't know, extra legally, and maybe we need to reclaim that.
Mm-hmm. There's been, I don't know if this is a legitimate thing, but there's some people that feel that you need to earn the right to vote.
I don't know. I really don't.
Sometimes it's like, because there's a lot of low information voters out there, and they don't research, do anything.
Of course.
They're emotional, and they go with the tide. And I kind of get that, but I don't know what would be a legitimate structure to make sure that it's not abused, because anytime you put something like that in that's a real risk, if somebody finds a way to not let the right people vote or the wrong people vote or whatever.
I mean,
Bill Binney's idea, which was literally just going through a phone book and randomly selecting people. That's Bill Binney's idea. And Bill Binney also said that we should be doing nightly samurai training. So
I like the idea
I like that line of thinking.
I like the idea of anonymous. What do you call it when people vote for somebody, or they select somebody, or I don't know, do anonymous, so people vote, people who you have no idea. So it's not people who want to lead.
a blind ballot.
So like George Washington, he didn't want to be president. They had to like beg him and force him and give him all this extra stuff to make him do it. But we need those people. We need the people who are like, nah, I just want to run my business. Leave me alone. But like everybody around him's like, he's awesome. He does a great job of leading. Let's make him do it. That's
no, I agree that
like, shoving the guy into the White House. He's like, I don't want to go. Be president.
No, that's the problem, man. Is that when you have a giant centralized structure, the only thing that it rewards is corruption and sociopaths, and we've had this ever expanding centralized structure for going on, 250 years, and we need. Like we need a fundamental restructuring of how we think about governance. We don't need to tweak the system. We don't need to slap new parts on it. That's just prolonging the life of a system that doesn't work for 999,000 out of every 100,000 of us.
I think we're headed towards more decentralization. You're going to see more states' rights type of things, more counties' rights. You're going to have communities who want to live a certain way, and if you don't like it, you're going to have to leave.
I mean, it's going to have to come to that, because with the Great Reset rolling through and politicians and world leaders openly talking about UN Agenda 2030 as part of like, hey, this is something we're working towards and implementing, then according to 2030, it's going to be the massive cities that are absorbed into this Great Reset bullshit, and it's going to be rural communities that are left to technological fucking scrap heap, and I'm okay with that personally. I don't need to be in Manhattan to be happy. I don't need to be in a smart city. I don't.
Yeah, well, I mean, like I've got to be here in San Jose until my kids are old enough for me to go somewhere else.
Yeah,
but yeah, like when it gets to that point, that's what I'm planning on. It's just ride this out as long as I can. Sell the house, cash in, and then disappear somewhere.
No, dude, I get that. I do. I've got like in-game goals and like contingency plans on top of contingency plans. It's incredibly time dependent, in my opinion, because Kamala Harris, it looks like, is about to become the fucking president, and she's a dead-eyed, soulless servant to power, John.
They're gonna keep Joe alive for 2 years
so that she can be president for a decade.
Yep.
We've discussed that.
They're gonna weekend at Joe's, or weekend at Bernie's, whatever. It's gonna be weekend at Joe's in the White House.
Deal with fucking white knights going, oh, well, you should be happy because she's half Jamaican for fucking 10 years.
Yeah, it's gonna be the same thing, same play they did with Obama. It's like you won't be able to criticize her ever. You won't be able to criticize her because any criticism of what she's doing, you're misogynist or you're a bigot. Period. It's not. Oh, I don't think we should put those people in a slave camp. Oh, you're intimidated by strong black women. Who hurt you? Who hurt you?
Bro,
you're an
but you're not wrong, dude. And that's, I mean, we all know, we know that.
We
one more time.
Different standards, and we just have it like so much harder for us. So because of that, we have to block an innocent man on death row from being free, because that's just how society makes us act, I guess. It's fuck. I can't deal with a conversation. I can't deal with 10 years.
A little blowy to the old white dude who's married so I can get a better job.
Dude, and here's the trajectory that I see. I don't know, the authoritarian left heading, and the people who supported Bernie Sanders, who wanted to die on that hill in 2020 after watching him get robbed and throw everyone under the bus in 2016. Those guys are the cult of AOC now. And they're going to become
AOC. She has always sucked from the tit of the establishment. She worked for 1 year of her life. She had a real job for 1 year of her life.
Do you think that was even legit, or was that like, hey, go get a job bartending so we can make sure and sell your political career?
She's not unattractive, right? And she only bartended for 1 year. She must really suck. She must be a terrible bartender with no personality who can't carry a conversation. How does somebody who's relatively cute like that bartend in a big city like that and not make bank? You're terrible at that job. You're awful.
I mean, cost of living is pretty high. Let's give her a little bit of credit. No, I'm just fucking with you. But no, I mean, I'm serious. Do you think that job was even like, I think that political consultants said you need to go be a bartender for a year. And that's how we're going to sell you as this progressive gift to America. As a relatable, real person.
Because it reminds me of that meme with Hillary Clinton where she's dressed like a teenager. She's like, hello, fellow teenagers.
I mean, but she had Ivy League education. Yeah. She clerked for Kennedy, or was an intern for Kennedy.
Like, there's so much on the stage. There's so many stakes on the table that people don't realize that they will groom somebody from teenage up until a political asset.
Well, yeah,
and they'll get dirt on them too to use as leverage. to manipulate them. It's like they own these people.
Yeah, no, I had that. Okay, so check this shit out, dude. The first political campaign that I was ever involved in or worked on was in 1994. Okay, it was a guy named David McIntosh. He was part of that Newt Gingrich Contract for America Congress. He was a former student of my dad's, which is why I got thrown onto the campaign in the first place. But they didn't know anything about me, and very early on, just because of nepotism was the reason I was on the campaign. One of dude's chief of staff was like, "Hey, if you would, like a career, now's the time to think about it." And I thought about it, and I was like, "Fuck you guys, no." But I mean, yeah, no, that's legit, dude. You get recruited in high school based on, the open political affiliation and fucking all the whatever civic activities you need to get off of your checklist in order to not pay as much to go to college. And fucking, I'm still tripping on the fact that we were at Purdue at the same time. That's fucking crazy.
Wow.
What?
In the water. Man, there's some interesting years. Back, things have changed so much. Like, we used to party hard and we wrestled hard. Season was hard, but like we partied hard. Nowadays,
nowadays, if you go to a party, you got to make sure you're not saying shit about it. It's like fucking Footloose, dead ass.
It's wild. I mean, they didn't even get together. I didn't even notice that they did get-togethers or, yeah, it was nuts. It's a different mindset. Kids aren't getting after it like they used to.
I mean, I have kids in high school right now, and you're right. Like, I mean, there are parties, but there's still, I mean, or at least around here, most of them, there's still an adult hanging out that's like, yeah, sure, you can get wrecked. I'm taking the keys. You fucking give me your phones. Everybody give me your phones. You don't get to hang out unless you give me your phone, and these are getting put away. And then when you leave, you can have it back. Like, but I mean, that's how people have to do this. And you were talking about the privatization of recreation.
Yeah, it's coming.
And I think this is a great way to introduce that topic.
Yeah, it's a good segue. Excellent segue.
Bam!
I think that's what it is. Segue. Speakeasies, because all the businesses are closed down, so it's going to be private groups, private memberships. I have a friend who has a rental house. They got one person staying in this like 4-bedroom house. They have gym mats down, gym stuff in the garage. They got like stuff set up in the bag. It's California, so there's like a smoking, medicinal like type recreation thing. They're gonna start, charging memberships and have a group of people. They can come in and use facilities. They'll have trainers that come in at certain times and work with people. But that's what it is. It's gonna be a private society, private clubs. You're gonna see restaurants, dude's going to be cooking foods in their kitchen and feeding people in their backyard and garage. You're going to see bars pop up, right? You're going to see nightclubs and dance places. Yeah, comedy shows. It's going to be small, 20 people in the back of a garden at somebody's house somewhere. People will rent estates, right? You can rent a mansion for a weekend and then charge people to come and stay. They stay in rooms, and you have all kinds of events that you could do while you're in that mansion for a couple of days or a day or a night, whatever. I feel like this is where things are going, because they're going to try to avoid lockdowns, avoid taxes, avoid all this bullshit from this Orwellian government that's just like up our ass all the time. So people are going to have to get creative, more VPNs. We need somebody to create some kind of phone or communication systems that we can own ourselves and not be spied on. That may be asking a bit much, but those are the things that are going to happen.
Go ahead.
Oh, I mean, I was just gonna say real quick, like, we're fucking having block parties. Like, I say this, one of the only things with the LA activism scene that I don't complain about and that doesn't generate drama and stress is the fact that, like, part of it is going to Mayor Garcetti's house. Fuck Garcetti, by the way, and fuck Gavin McFuck-ass recall Newsom. Part of that is that we go to Mayor Garcetti's house and we have fucking, like, block parties outside it. And, you know, not gonna lie, sheriffs have arrested people there before on a Halloween night. Like, it was on some fucking Footloose shit, but I mean, it's gonna keep happening. And I love it when it happens, and it should happen more. Because otherwise, like, we're not gonna fucking get outside. We're not gonna see each other. We're gonna be further and further distance from our humanity. And especially with the Great Reset coming, you have people trying to advance a transhumanist agenda that's further separating us from our own humanity and each other. So
I want you living in a pod and eating bugs.
I mean, straight up, that's what Klaus Schwab said.
You'll own nothing, you'll eat bugs, and you'll be happy.
Yeah, you'll eat less meat. You won't rent.
Yeah.
You won't use plastic.
Wouldn't have a day. Pigs. Nope, I'm not gonna eat fake meat or whatever the crap you're giving. I'll be eating the stray cats and the squirrels before I'm eating some veggie patty.
So I can you talk to anybody over the hill? You're over the hill for me, but can you talk to anybody over the hill, like, about Klaus Schwab, about the Great Reset? Like, are these conversations that you can have? Because here we got, I mean, we're still mountain, but we got invaded by Silicon Valley fucking tech liberal bros about a decade ago, and they've bred. They're like making more. Like,
infestation.
Yeah, Flatlanders, fucking Flatlanders, everywhere. And
I mean, I don't.
Florida Flatlanders aren't awful.
You know, so like, I have some friends that I met through. You know, my kids went to Catholic school for a year, so they're a little more conservative, and so like I can have whatever conversation with them about it normal. And then I'm around a lot of fighters and a lot of people who are fight mentality or in jiu-jitsu and stuff. They're usually used to adversity, and they tend to be more centered or a little bit more right-leaning. I don't really get too many like far left people who do martial arts. I don't really see it.
God, it's such the opposite here, man. The fucking jiu-jitsu schools are primarily like NPR liberals or like, you know, woke.
Well, maybe it's the difference between, the jiu-jitsu. Maybe I'm not spending a lot of time on the jiu-jitsu circles. Maybe it's the jiu-jitsu, and with the fighters, it's a little different, I guess, maybe. You know, but yeah, there's plenty of people who think differently out there.
How do we swing the privatization of joy? If they implement this Great Reset bullshit, this technopoly and owner class and peasant class with nothing in between, do we redefine what money is? Do we move beyond money and work towards just making a sustainable civilization outside of bullshit?
It sounds a lot like slavery. This is kind of like what I see this future looking like. Okay, you're going to see corporations own whole townships and cities.
Again,
it'll be like Google or whatever. Amazon will own San Francisco.
Yeah.
And in order to live there, you're going to have to be plugged into their Amazon pay system. And then like Amazon's going to own everything. So it'll be Amazon grocery store, Amazon gas station, Amazon bookstore, right? So like everything there is all Amazon based. It's like the old mining towns where they had the company stores.
Yeah, the company town.
Everything was owned by the corporation. Well, it's going to be the same thing. It's just city size now. They're going to be able to track everybody, monitor everybody. They're going to know where you went, what you did, and they'll be able to determine how much of a stipend they give you for money to buy food and resources, which will be like some kind of processed worm meat, and and then there's going to be us who are the underground people, and we're going to be using technology to escape and get to Mars or the moon. I think that's what the future holds. Because this, I don't see it getting any better here. It's going to keep locking shit down and taking away rights. So we need the Elon Musks and the underground Tesla dudes to like create some spaceships and get our asses to the moon and Mars.
Can I shit in your Wheaties, Jon Fitch?
I think I know what's coming.
Elon Musk doesn't care about any of us. Elon Musk is not coming to save anyone. In fact, if there's any exploration or
corporations are other assets, they're government assets.
I mean, dude, he just sent up 50 fucking spy satellites. That's what SpaceX is. It's a fucking
funding, tax breaks.
Why he gets funded?
And research money but they have to bend over and do these side things, and that's
and he fucking wants to stick a chip in your head and connect you to the cloud, bro. Like,
we need engineers that work for him that go underground and steal the information, and we build our own rocket ship.
I can advocate that because they'll yank my shit, but dude, I think that there needs to be a by any means necessary approach to securing self-determination. That's what I think.
There's only one way I see self-determination as a possibility to most people. Get rich.
I mean, historically,
you have $10 million in the bank, probably nobody's gonna fuck with you. Mostly, probably. You know, you're probably gonna get away with most shit. You're gonna get out. Just don't be too blatantly like murdering people on camera.
But
mostly, you'll still probably get away with it.
Unless you're a private military contractor or you work for the Food Safety Authority in the UK, which now has, thanks to their Spy Cops bill, the legal right to kill or rape or torture private citizens as long as it's in the economic interest of the United Kingdom. That's no bullshit. No bullshit. And if you don't think that shit is coming here, man, you're fucking mistaken. Like, with the national security state is as in charge as they're ever going to be with Biden and Harris.
They got all the information. They know everything about you.
And they've got
you blink in a day. They know how many times your heart beats. They know what people you like and dislike.
Yeah, and now they want your thoughts, and they want to be able to punish you for that. That's pre-crime. That's wrong thinking.
Yeah.
Yep.
You know, like we're at the intersection of like Hunter and Minority Report and fucking every Philip K. Dick story ever and fuck like in the real-time prequel to V for Vendetta, because there's a fucking virus running around that is going to mutate every fucking 6 months, and it's going to be a new reason for a lockdown. And they told you, even with the vaccines, that you're still going to have to wear a mask and you're still going to have to social distance.
Pfizer's own words, by the way. Like, this isn't like Alex Jones or conspiracy theorists saying this. Like, this is per Pfizer Biotech's own words, that you still have to wear a mask and you still have to socially distance even after getting the vaccine. It's just that, now we'll also have constant surveillance up your ass for the next 12 to 18 months.
The best way to deal with this is just go out and get COVID.
I mean, I actually got COVID.
Just go get it. And then it's like, I don't need the vaccine. I already had it.
Yeah. My vaccine was gummies with vitamin C, D, and zinc.
Yep.
Yeah, I mean, we had it in October, November of 2019. Laid out for like 10 days, 2 weeks. My house was laid out for 3 weeks, and have nobody's been sick since.
Yeah. I mean, I didn't even get it for that
Yeah,
long.
I had a nurse friend 2 weeks ago who I spent some time with, and she had it, and I have not. Yeah, I haven't got it, so I think I got it earlier.
It's fucking funny.
Woo!
I'm pretty sure I'm all right.
You're subtle like a brick.
It's just like there's no way I wasn't exposed.
Right. No, got it. Got it. Shit, dude. No, I mean, look, if people are willing to reorganize society over a virus that kills like 0.6% of the people that get it, why aren't they ready to organize society because it's currently being ran by sociopathic pedophiles?
So this goes back to what we're talking about. People are emotional creatures first. They're more likely to make a decision based on emotionality than anything else. I read a book. Scott Adams had a great book, Win Bigly. It's awesome. He talks about persuasion and stuff about Trump and why persuasion works and how people are irrational and emotional. And it really helps you understand why people act the way they do. And you'll see that people are followers. The majority of people are followers. So if you have a strong leader, even if they're an asshole, people will follow. There was a clip, it was yesterday. I don't even know who this person is. There's some girl who has a big song out now. People are doing some challenge to right now. They showed a video clip of her doing the same exact song before anybody knew who she was. Guess what? Like nobody danced, and they started making fun of her. It's the exact same song. She's singing the exact same lyrics. Those same exact people were like, oh, she's so great now. People are followers. They didn't know that the music was good until somebody told them it was good because it was on the radio. You need an authority figure to tell you it's okay. A lot of people, they need the authority to like something.
I mean, that's unfortunately accurate.
It is. But once you understand that, it becomes much more understanding like how to deal with individual people and why mobs are bad.
I mean, okay, I've had this conversation with Jared Beck before, who's the DNC fraud lawsuit attorney. Fascinating human being. He'll be back on the show here soon too, by the way, guys.
Yeah, that whole thing disappeared. Nobody got punished. Nobody got shamed. Nobody.
No, and people people still went and voted.
Oh, Russia. You hacked it, so you can't look at any of the stuff in it.
In court, they said technically there's no such thing as a Democrat. The DNC is a private corporation that doesn't have to obey its own rules or bylaws. We can pick our candidates in a smoke-filled back room. They said this in court, and it got reported on, and people still went, yeah, I'm going to give them my money, and I'm going to vote for Democrats.
Well, they're good people.
Hey, bro, if we just vote hard, like we gotta vote so hard. If we just vote harder, if like tens of thousands of us just vote so hard, then we'll overcome it. I'm sure, man. Positive.
People really want change. Everybody should just not pay taxes 1 year.
So the tax strike is something that we've brought up fairly frequently, and I agree. I think it'll be massively difficult to organize because it's something that everybody wants to do, but pulling the trigger on it, again, just as you were saying, people need permission to like something. People are going to need permission to act on it. And if not enough people do it initially, that is going to backfire.
Yeah, man. It's also a big ask. Hey, gamble on this huge thing. I think a better strategy is to do it in a legal sense. Okay, so find as many loopholes as you can to not pay taxes and work as little as possible. Make as least amount of money. Be minimalist. Spend less. Make less. Be less of a person. If everybody kind of cuts things back, we cut the consumerism down, we'll slowly strangle the government. Like there's no more money. It's like, hey, we need tax money. It's like I made $6,000 this year.
I mean, look, I am all for whatever we can do to make our individual communities less reliant on the federal government. I'm all for people trying to take over their local
Chickens,
government.
get a goat.
Right? I mean, goats are little fucking assholes. But if you've ever been around a goat, you know.
Yeah.
Bro,
And goats, if there are any goats watching right now, you fucking know what you've done. You know.
You're a goatophobe.
Hey, goat tastes amazing though.
Oh, you're not wrong, dude. Goat burger's fucking legit.
Hey, bro, get some curry goats, do it with some potatoes, and add some roti on this.
What is that? The what delicacy? The goat cheek? Isn't that the goat cheek? Isn't that a thing?
Yeah.
Something about the face meat? I don't know.
Yeah. There also legitimate delicacy and Rolling Stones album, Goat's Head Soup. Yeah.
Nice.
Did not expect to be saying that sentence today. Yeah.
The kind of conversations we have on this channel.
True though, it's true. It's true. In the works is some slow news day out of context clips that I'm really looking, because I experience every show in a sort of a blackout. Like if you ask me like 10 minutes afterwards what I said,
you're in the moment, man.
Yeah.
I don't ever remember what I said. Could be bad.
Right. No. I also don't really take pictures either, which I should probably get better at.
Or I started paying more attention to like Instagram and the marketing aspects of Instagram, and you need that's a consistent thing. It needs to be a lot of consistent posts because you need to be showing up on people's timeline as much as possible.
See, that's what I would do the out of context clips for. Yeah, in lieu of, because I'm not I'm not that dude. I'm never gonna be that dude. Like just.
Well, there are platforms you can schedule posts, so you can set up your whole week or month ahead of time, and
we for Action for Assange, I don't even know if I talked about this to you or not, but I co-host the Free Assange Vigil series as well, and we've organized a number of events around the ongoing torture of Julian Assange and what it means for everybody in press freedom and fucking advocacy in general. But we use Hootsuite for that, and it's okay, but it only gives you like Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram. And there needs to be some sort of like, I don't know, magic widget that will let you post to Minds and MeWe and Gab and fucking all that shit, like all of it at once. That would be fantastic.
Well, I mean, somebody's got to develop it.
Come on, magic widget makers, you can do it.
You need what we need is a lot more conservative leading. I don't even want to say conservative or right wing. I just want to say non-left. We need more non-left people, non-far left people to create more technology, more platforms, and more services. Because everything's all the big companies are controlled by the same people who have the same belief systems.
So the original open source community is all far left anarchists. Like this is something that like I hate putting labels on shit and shit. But there's an
far left.
There's an authoritarian left that people call
authoritarian far left. You have to do everything our way.
And it's not even that they're far left, because they're pushing what are essentially incredibly mainstream ideas. It's that they're fucking they're really, really bad at marketing, one, but they're also fucking just incredibly cynically gullible. which is kind of a phenomenon, but nowhere else but on like the progressive left will you find people who are so openly critical of the structure and the systems, but so willing to throw their time, money, and energy into re-electing a fucking Democrat just because they said Medicare for all and it tickled your fucking, I don't know, dude, like your feelings. Like,
when at what point do you realize that these people are not doing anything good? Whether it's out of maliciousness or just incompetence. At what point do you realize and say, hey, oh wow, this didn't work. Their ideas didn't work. We need to like reverse, because that's the other thing that really bothers me about a lot of the Democratic positions is that when something fails, they refuse to take responsibility and they just double down on it. Oh no, we need more of this, not to change gears. We just need to double down on it. Then that'll work.
Yeah, I mean, and look, man, we've entered the period of blatant one party oligarchy. Right, I'm gonna say like going back to like the period of time that we were talking about with Nixon.
Because the Republicans, what is the Republicans and conservatives concerned? They haven't stood up for the Constitution. They haven't.
Dick Cheney said deficits don't matter in 2003.
The Republicans today are where the left was in the 90s. Right? They're okay with gay marriage. They're okay with a lot of this stuff. And what has the Republican Party or conservatives done? Nothing. They're in the psyop.
The Democratic Party are in the same spot essentially. They play like they disagree with each other, and obviously now Democrats and Republicans excel. But at the same time, when it comes to war, when it comes to an expansion of surveillance, when it comes to something like just giving fuck all to billionaires, it's like they line up in the exact same way. Like, oh, like you go and see all these, you go see all of them make up real quick when they want to go to war with Iran or Syria.
What's the one time that everybody called Trump presidential?
Oh, when he bombed the fuck out of Syria.
He bombed Syria. It's the only time. It's the only time.
Which, by the way, was the result of a fucking false flag, which we know, which WikiLeaks proved, which a number of other outlets ran with, which we got called fucking conspiracy theorists for.
They pressured him so hard to bomb somebody over there, and he launched one bomb, and he launched in a place he knew nobody was at. It was like an abandoned airfield.
Well, and continued the drone program.
Oh yeah, he continued. I mean. Yeah, that was a part of the whole Trump is a monster bullshit. Is like, when was the last time they did a report on what happened and what's going on in the Middle East? Like the only time you ever heard about the Middle East is if Trump was like, "Oh, I think maybe we'll bring the troops home," and everybody would freak out. And that would be a terrible thing for you to stop.
I have a good friend who lives in Syria who fucking tells me like almost daily that regular Syrian people are fucking just braced for the worst with Biden coming in, and they should. I mean, they have got every fucking right in the world to be nervous right now, because not only did Trump run with all of Obama's wars, which were some of Bush's wars, which were some of his dad's wars, which were some of the CIA's wars going back to the 50s. But he engaged in all of these fucking half-assed coups, some of which were successful, some of which failed miserably, like Venezuela and Bolivia backfired on him. But again, the national security state has never been more in charge than they are right now, or with Biden Harris coming in. And this means more dirty wars. The Trump administration ramping up our presence in Africa is going to seem tame compared to what Biden and Harris do. Like, it's all just exponentially worse. This is why I say every president in my lifetime has been the worst president of my lifetime. Like, I don't go for that Trump's the worst president ever bullshit, because every president in my life has been the worst president, because they've all been successively fucking worse.
Yeah.
Like, what the fuck do you think is going to happen with the next one?
Biden's
Like, and
director, Anthony Burns, was complaining that we didn't have enough red lines in Syria, and fucking everybody's cheering over it because, oh, it could be way worse of a CIA director. We just got the guy that was sent to Russia to help get Snowden back and complain that we didn't have enough red lines in Syria. Like, are you fucking kidding me, dude? It's like, there is nothing good about what's going about the people going into Biden's administration just because, oh, well, actually, it could be way worse. Like, no, motherfucker, it can't. It's going to get worse. And like, oh God, everybody's going to get fucked.
Yeah, it's going to get worse, and the press is not going to push back at all. They're going to write pieces about how people aren't complimentary enough about the administration. You didn't say enough nice stuff about them. There's people going off about they're mad that the Kamala was on whatever cover of whatever magazine the other day. They're mad that they didn't use a flattering enough of a picture. That was the big.
I missed that.
Or whatever.
I'm so glad I missed that. So glad I missed that.
Kidding me? See, that's the criticism. That's the criticism of Kamala, the future vice president. Is they were not. They should have, because it was something like, she's a black woman and the color of whatever was behind her was like awful. This was not right, or I don't know. It was just silly, and that's what we're gonna see for the next 4 years, maybe more. It was the same thing with Obama. Like I have friends that still be like, oh, like it was nice to have a president who didn't have any controversies. I'm like, are you fucking serious? There were no controversies with Obama, really? That's your takeaway? Oh man, like how do you even talk to a person about anything if that's their stance?
If that's the bubble they live in, I run into those people, man, and they stopped. Most of them stopped talking to me years ago. Yeah, really, and then there are some people that like completely misunderstood my criticisms of Barack Obama and assumed that I was a Republican. Yep. And like, I don't play fucking team sport politics. Team sport politics is a fucking grift. Like, that's not where I'm at, and when I see people now that are like, oh, your boy Trump, blah, blah, it's like, look, you're going out of your way to be stupid to me on purpose. And I wish you would stop doing that to yourself. It's sad.
It is. Really sad.
Yeah. It's really something to see. And it's like, when you think of something like Obama, especially in the fact that people still can't get over him, like the video of him pretending to sip poison Flint water.
Flint, Michigan. They won't even open the video. You send them the video. They won't. That didn't happen. I'm not watching your whatever crap. Or the video.
They're held to such high standards.
I don't trust that source you sent me the video from. I'm like. So, because of where the source of the video came from, it's not a real video anymore.
Yeah. No, source shaming is almost programmed into half of the country right now, and it's the same on both sides. The
content of what they said.
Yeah, no, because nuance was one of the very first casualties of it's coming of when the weasel got stuck in the Large Hadron Collider, causing a hard reset and forcing us into this, which is the dumbest of all possible timelines. Nuance gone, irony gone. What Sinbad as the genie in that movie also gone.
Yeah.
No, I don't fucking know. Not gonna Mandela effect on. I don't know, dude. I don't think the Mandela effect is a thing. I think it's pretty fucking funny though.
No, I think it's like with the Mandela effect, along with the belief in a simulation. We're living in a simulation. It has to do with, again, the the emotionalism that we are. We all want to think that we're rational. Oh, I think in math and science and logic, but we're not. We think in emotion, and we create hallucinations around ourselves in order to live the life that we want to, that makes us happy. To cope, we cope because we're surrounded by chaos and whatever, and we try to cope with the reality that we live in and make it normal. So I'm trying to balance things out that way.
So let me throw this at you. In a world that is going to be increasingly manipulated by artificial intelligence, because it looks like we're headed that way. If AI is essentially predicting behavior and manipulating outcomes based on predictive behavior, doesn't that by definition mean we're living in a simulated reality?
Interesting. Yeah, if everybody's got fake lips and fake boobs and stuff, and then you get the brain plant and then you see what you want to see.
You know, I mean, like I understand, or at least I hope, and it's my you know, to whatever extent it's worth, prayer that there are pockets of resistance that stay active and healthy and out of harm's way throughout all of that. But if reality itself becomes shaped by artificial intelligence, I don't see that as anything other than a simulated reality, which is no kind of real existence, but would be a possible
I think
outcome.
There's two realities, though. There's your personal reality of what you observe, the observed reality, and then there's a reality outside of what you observe.
Yeah. Yeah, and I
have on your goggles, and it's like you're in the North Pole, and it's like freezing with your goggles and what you see, but like your house is on fire. Like that's very conflicting realities. You know, you're in the tundra, and you may feel cold, and like you see a polar bear, you're like, oh shit, and then like you're dead because you're smoking all that shit.
Yeah, and I feel like we're going to lose an entire generation to virtual reality when it gets just a little bit better. Like, because if you know, there's fucking no free assembly, if there's forever lockdown, if there's no socialization anymore, then people are going to want to escape to a virtual world.
Our biological cells. I think it's important to remember our animal cells, because I think a lot of this comes from that split realities become forebrain, because we have this imagination and all this hallucination that we can do because of our forebrain, our consciousness. But we also have our rear animal brain, and like that's the reality that anchors us to life. And if we ignore that primal biology, that rear brain, like I think it's a lot of anxiety and a lot of the depression, a lot of the shit that we go through is because we're not congruent with our frontal lobe reality and our rear lobe and our rear brain reality. I think the answer is to find a mesh. You got to understand what your biology is and what it's telling you, and then make decisions accordingly.
That's a really good way to put it.
Yeah,
we forget that we are animals. We have, we need to eat. We need certain things. Like our body releases dopamine and serotonin to reward us for certain behaviors. So if we're pumping all of those behaviors into video games, well, we're still getting that biological response, but we're not getting the food or shelter that we would have gotten normally, like to get that same response. You were like, oh, I built a house. I get to sleep without getting wet at night. Oh, now I get the dopamine pop. Well, now it's like pew, 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 pew.
or you're a fucking cunt. Reply. Or I mean, like
that's a dopamine bump too.
Yeah,
you get a little bit of attention, you get a little bit of thrill because you took that chance and whatever. Yeah, 100%.
Yeah, and there's been such a concerted effort through cultural conditioning to disconnect from the physical.
Yeah.
And it's something that
Old philosophers, there's always a battle between the physical and the mental. And I think that's that battle between the frontal lobe consciousness and your animal self. You got to find that balance.
Oh, I mean, I agree. I think that it's worth, I don't know, I fighting for, because we're kind of in a position now where we have to fight for that, where we have to demand the ability for human contact and the ability to be outdoors and the ability to have an existence outside of your fucking monitor.
Yep. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
It's good to have, physical friends that you have contact with and talk to. You need to spend time around people. I'm a little bit of a hermit too, and I still need to get out and be around people sometimes.
Or even just be outside. Like, I like the ocean a lot. I like studying it and swimming around in it, and that's common knowledge to the people in this channel. So just like, accumulating yourself with your natural environment, and yeah.
100%.
Oh.
Oh, that's chat.
Oh.
Okay, word. All right, man. Well, John, thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate the hell out of the conversation.
Awesome. Yeah, this is great.
And just real quick, let everybody know where they can find you, how they can support you, and yeah, thanks you. And like at some point, dude, we should meet up and fucking barbecue or something. You're like,
yeah, we're close.
For sure.
Absolutely. Yeah, they can go to jonfitch.net is the best way to get a hold of me. And I got a newsletter so you can get updates and everything that's going on. All my social media, blogs, podcasts, everything's on jonfitch.net. So just check it out. And then, my podcast is Sunday nights, Jon Fitch Knows Nothing. And this Sunday you'll be on the show.
Hell yeah. Looking forward to it. So John, thanks again, brother. I do. I appreciate it. Glory, what do you got?
Just stay ready. You ain't got to get ready. I feel like I should say more, but like every time you say like, Glory, what you got? Like I never fully know what to say. So that's why it always comes out in the form of like these incredibly scuffed outros. So it's like, great day. Thanks for joining us. Chat. Love y'all. John, awesome conversation. And, between this and our combo with Whitney earlier, it was just so amazing. Shout out to the Combo Couch because they gave us a little shout out. So shout out to Pasta and Fee and Johnny and Pasta's amazing Steve Poikonen impression.
Beat, my friend. It is beat. You need to work on that shit, Craig Pasta Jardula. You need to like, look, man, look. I let you hug me, and this is how you do me, bro. You put your man lips on my cheek, and this is how really, man. Come on.
I thought it was great, Pasta.
Anywho, that's gonna do it for this one. Thank you guys so much for hanging out for this. I love each and every one of you. Thank you. I just saw that Cat Tarot for the super chat. We'll absolutely take a string of spaghetti. Why the fuck not? Is that a pasta reference? I don't know. Anywho, please join us Sunday. 10 a.m. Pacific, 1 p.m. Eastern. Richard Gage, founder of Architects and Engineers for 9/11 Truth, will be joining us. He's going to talk about their documentary film 7. There will be a follow-up discussion about this film with Dylan Avery down the road. Got to schedule that. And yeah, I'm really looking forward to that show. Thanks again to John. Thanks to Sleepy Josh on the ones and twos. Glory Jones. Thanks again to Whitney Webb this morning for hanging out for as long as she did. That was incredibly cathartic. We love you guys, and we'll see you soon. Good luck to us all.